I love big, sporty, luxury sedans. There's something wonderfully wonderful about them, which is a stupid turn of phrase that I just made up, and no one else is going to use it, but here we are. I think it stems originally from my love of Mercedes. I like big E-classes and S-classes with big engines, big power, big comfort, big luxury, big fun. But one of the greats, the all-time greats, has a 4-ringed badge on it, and an S and an 8. That's again a long way to say I love the Audi S8. So for 2022, the Audi S8 got a mild facelift. It was fully refreshed back in 2020. Here in 2022, it's got a bit rework on the grille, updates to the headlights and taillights, and it's kind of it. There's some good standard equipment thrown in though, and you still have this wonderful interior, gorgeous looks on the outside, subtly gorgeous looks on the outside, and then a delightful twin-turbocharged 4-liter V8 engine, backed up by an 8-speed automatic and quattro all-wheel drive, which was, woof, I gotta work on my German. This car goes. But first, let's talk about those looks. I have always loved how subtly cool the S8 looks, and it's no different here, especially with all of its blacked out trim on the exterior. Oddly, they didn't black out the chrome, they didn't black out the exhaust outlet finisher or just the tips. They didn't black out the tips, and that seems like a missed opportunity or an oversight. It should match the rest of the car. Regardless, this thing looks sleek as hell, sleek as it ever was, and I love it. On the inside, excellent, excellent machine, super comfortable. This one doesn't have the optional crazy executive back seat, which turns this car from a 5-seater to a 4-seater, and that's fine. I don't care about that. I don't need it because I want to be driving it. I like that Audi has embraced noise the last few years, so their cars sound good again, but this car also handles, or I guess we're done talking about interior and exterior because I'm driving like an idiot. So let's get right to it. That engine, 563 horsepower, 590 pound-feet of torque, and it delivers it smoothly and wonderfully, and it sounds good from inside the car. It sounds better from outside the car because this is nice and cozy and insulated inside. But this car has a much smaller footprint than you would think on the road. As it sits, when it's parked, it looks like a giant A8L sitting there taking up a whole lot of space. There's tons of room in that back seat. But thanks to standard rear axle steering, this thing can shorten its turning radius. I think Audi says it has the same turning radius as an A4, which is amazing. This thing handles far better than it has any reason to handle. The giant brakes haul you down from speed, the big tires, the quattro all-wheel drive system gives you good grip, and then just straight line punch it. This car should not be able to do what it does on these roads, but it does. And good God, it's awesome. Now all of this good God, it's awesome comes at a price, though it is less than last year. They dropped the price to a starting price of $118,000, which is still, you know, pretty good chunk of money. This one as tested is $135,000, and you can spec it higher. Like I said, it does not have that crazy backseat option. But $135,000, I mean, what am I gonna say? What am I gonna complain about the price? That's how much, you know, S classes cost. That's how much 7 Series cost. That's how much these big, fancy, expensive things cost, except for Genesis, which manages to deliver an excellent product for, you know, less for less. They're doing a good job. Still, once you get back into one of these and experience the real deal of German luxury, you kind of go, oh, right, that's why I'm paying that much more for one of these, not just curb appeal and all that. Though the Genesi do look fantastic. I'm not trying to take away from them. What they're doing is amazing. But what Audi does here on its S8 is absolutely wonderful. Now, speaking of the S-Class and the 7 Series, on the inside, those are more luxurious. I do believe those are more, there's just a level of luxury to be found there that's a bit higher up. In terms of the driving dynamics, give me the S8 all day, every day. Now, I mentioned that this has that rear axle steering as standard. It also has a torque vectoring rear differential, which is awesome as well. It also comes with this crazy predictive suspension system. So it scans the road ahead of you, and if it sees potholes or speed bumps, it'll adjust the suspension as needed to make your ride more comfortable. It'll also provide a little bit of lean in corners. It's an amazing setup. It works really well. The ride in this thing is excellent, and it's just impressive tech. Now, it's also that same tech that will raise the side if it's gonna get a side impact crash, so there's a safety aspect of it as well. But still, if you put this in dynamic mode of the different driving modes, it's still really comfortable, and I love that. If you put it into Comfort Plus, it's crazy comfortable. But one thing I don't like about the S8 is that when you are in dynamic mode with the gearbox in dynamic, it wants to upshift a little earlier than I would expect. It's like the gearbox still, even though it says dynamic in the cluster, it has S for sport instead of just D, so I'm sure it is in dynamic mode with respect to the transmission. It's just a little bit lazier than I would expect of a full-on dynamic mode, and I wish it would be a bit more aggressive if you are playing in that space. But you have paddles right on the back of the steering wheel, and you can easily find the gear you want if it's not giving you the gear you want on its own.